Most people spend their entire lives trying to fit in, adjusting, shrinking, smoothing out the edges of themselves that don't quite match what the world around them expects. Watching other people seem to navigate social situations effortlessly and wondering why it always feels a little harder, a little more exhausting, a little more like a performance for them. And somewhere along the way, a quiet conclusion forms: something is wrong with me. But what if that conclusion is not just wrong? What if it is the exact opposite of the truth? What if the things that make you feel different, strange, out of place, the traits you have spent years trying to hide or fix or apologize for are not your weaknesses? What if they are your power? Today we are going through 7 signs that you are not normal. Not in the broken sense, in the rare sense, in the sense that matters. Let's go. Sign 1. You feel things more deeply than people around you. Most people process emotional experiences and move on relatively quickly. You do not. When something affects you, it really affects you. A conversation, a film, a piece of music, a moment of unexpected kindness from a stranger, these things land in you differently. More completely, they stay longer, they mean more, and you have probably been told at some point that you are too sensitive, too intense, that you need to develop thicker skin. Here is what they did not tell you. Research on emotional depth consistently links it to higher empathy, stronger creative output, and more meaningful relationships. The people who feel things most deeply are often the ones who love most genuinely, create most powerfully, and connect most authentically. Your sensitivity is not a design flaw, it is a design feature, one that most people do not have access to. Sign 2. You find small talk exhausting and pointless. You can do it. You have learned to do it, but something in you resists it at a fundamental level. The weather, the weekend, the vague, circling conversations that never go anywhere, never reveal anything, never actually connect two people in any meaningful way. It drains you, and you have probably wondered what is wrong with you for finding something so normal so deeply unpleasant. Nothing is wrong with you. People who find small talk exhausting tend to have a strong preference for what psychologists call substantive conversation, exchange that actually means something. That reveals something real about the people involved. That builds genuine understanding rather than just filling air. This preference is not antisocial, it is a higher standard for connection. The person who would rather have one real conversation than 20 surface ones is not someone who struggles with people. They are someone who takes people seriously enough to want the real version of them. Sign 3. You think about things most people never consider. Why does this work the way it does? What is actually behind that assumption everyone accepts? What would happen if things were organized completely differently? Your mind goes places that most conversations never reach. You find yourself thinking about questions that other people seem to have no interest in. You notice patterns and connections that others walk past without seeing. And sometimes, in a group, in a conversation, you say something that reveals this. And there is a moment of blankness in the faces around you. A slight pause before someone changes the subject. That blankness is not a verdict on your intelligence. It is the gap between different cognitive depths. Research on deep thinking and abstract reasoning shows it is strongly associated with creative problem solving, intellectual innovation, and the ability to see solutions that others miss entirely. The mind that cannot stop asking why is the mind that eventually figures out things that the minds which stopped asking never could. Sign 4. You have always felt slightly out of place, not dramatically. Just a persistent, low-level sense of not quite fitting, of watching people around you slot naturally into social dynamics that always felt slightly foreign to you, of being fine, even happy sometimes, but never quite all the way in. This is one of the most common experiences reported by people who later made significant contributions in their fields. Artists, scientists, entrepreneurs, thinkers of all kinds. The slight outsider position produces a kind of observational clarity that full insiders rarely achieve. You see the group from a different angle. You notice things people inside it cannot see because they are too close. The feeling of not quite fitting was never a sign something was wrong. It was the beginning of your point of view. Sign 5. You need more alone time. Then most people, the world treats the need for solitude as something to be overcome, as introversion reframed as a limitation, as something to apologize for. Sorry, I just need some time to myself, as if the need itself is a social failure. But research on solitude and cognitive function tells a different story. Time alone, real chosen. Unstructured alone time is consistently associated with creative insight, emotional processing, self-awareness, and the development of a coherent sense of identity. The people who need the most alone time are often the ones doing the most complex internal work, processing experience more thoroughly, making connections that require the quiet to form, building an inner life rich enough to sustain a genuine outer one. Your need for solitude is not a retreat from the world. It is where you go to understand it. Sign 6. You question things everyone else accepts the rule everybody follows without asking why. The belief that goes unexamined because everyone shares it. The way things have always been done, which somehow becomes the way things must be done. You notice these things, and something in you cannot simply accept them because they are accepted. This is deeply uncomfortable in social contexts. Nobody likes the person who asks why when everyone else is simply doing. Nobody enjoys having their assumptions examined, their certainties questioned, their inherited beliefs held up to the light. And so people who question things learn, often early, to do it quietly, to carry their questioning internally rather than expressing it out loud, to be the person who nods in the meeting while thinking something entirely different. But here is what that questioning represents. It is the foundation of every significant human advancement in history. Every medical breakthrough began with someone refusing to accept what everyone knew was true. Every scientific revolution began with one person asking why the accepted model did not quite fit the evidence. The mind that questions is the mind that eventually discovers. Your discomfort with assumptions is not a social dysfunction. It is the exact quality that changes things. Sign 7. You feel a persistent sense that your life is supposed to mean something, not in an arrogant way. Just a quiet, persistent pull toward meaning, toward contribution, toward a life that actually matters in some way you cannot always articulate but cannot stop feeling. Most people are not thinking about meaning. They are managing the practical demands of existence, work, family obligations, the next thing on the list. But some people cannot turn the meaning question off. It runs underneath everything. It makes certain paths feel hollow even when they look successful. It makes achievements feel unsatisfying even after years of working toward them. This is not ungratefulness. It is not depression, though it can look like it. It is the signal of a mind built for more than maintenance, oriented at some deep level toward contribution rather than just survival. That pull, the one that has never let you simply settle, is one of the most important things about you. Do not ignore it, follow it. Outro. You are not normal. Not in the sense that something went wrong. In the sense that you were made for a different kind of contribution than the one the middle of the bell curve makes. The depth, the questioning, the discomfort with surfaces, the need for meaning. The slight, persistent sense of not quite fitting. These are not the signs of someone who failed to become ordinary. They are the signs of someone who was never supposed to be. The world needs people like you. It has always needed people like you. If this described you, share it with someone who has spent too long believing that different means broken. Leave a comment below. Which of these 7 signs hit closest to home? I read every single one. Subscribe for new psychology content every week. Until next time, stop trying to be normal. You were never supposed to be.